All right. Hello, everyone. Shane Malika here again with you for Phyxius Powerbuilding. Thank you again for joining for this particular episode. This episode, we're going to actually do a little bit of a continuation on last week's episode that went into, basic chest workout with dumbbells. We're going to continue that, but switch gears and look a little bit more on a chest workout using mobility bands, strength bands, if you will, because they have their own advantages, which we'll get into in just a second. I'm going to take it a little light today, or even lighter than usual, in order to get through this video. I'm a little sore. Yesterday, I did my first Spartan run ever, and even though I trained for it, I did high-intensity interval training and did all the things that you're supposed to, along with the power building that I normally did. And I did pretty well in the upper half for my age group and for the overall. Over 3,000 people were there. Did really well with all of it and everything, all the strength events like carrying the Atlas stones and the buckets and the sandbags, piece of cake, no problem with all that. The one thing I did not account for was that, because I was thinking, it's going to be in Southern Indiana. What could go wrong there, right? One thing I didn't count for was that 90% of the course was going to be in loose sand on dunes, going up, down hills in the loose sand, doing all of these different obstacles and events and everything. So that definitely sapped me, and my cardiovascular conditioning was definitely put to the test. But I survived, I finished. And again, for my first run, doing it in the upper half for my age group, and I'm 43 years old. And even for overall, with 3,000 people being in the upper half, I consider that pretty good. So bear with me today, just a little sore. So again, today we're going to be looking at doing a chest workout with mobility bands. Now, mobility bands, I think these things get a little bit of a bad rap. I know they made a little bit of a comeback here and became very important when COVID hit last year. People became very reliant on these, and they were actually very hard to find. There are advantages to these, all right? I'm actually a fan of them. I've been using mobility bands to one extent or another, either as a supplement to my dumbbell barbell workouts, or actually, there are periods of time when all I'll use is mobility bands. One nice part about mobility bands is that they're portable, they're cheap. Relatively, again, you can get a set of mobility bands anywhere from $70 to $100, but hey, you're probably going to be, if you go to a gym, you're probably going to be spending, anywhere from 20 to 50 bucks a month anyways. So these could be a really good investment. They do last a long time. The good ones that you'll find out there from this brand is Iron Infidel, not a sponsor for this video, but it's the one I use. Or Undersun Fitness is another great brand. The mobility bands put out by Buff Dudes. I'll link all of these in the description below. All of those bands, they'll last for up to 5 years with really, even if you use them very, very consistently. So they're strong, they're durable. Also, they provide what's called variable resistance. All right. Now, with muscle physiology, muscle biomechanics, as you contract your muscles, as they get into that shortened position, they naturally get stronger and stronger. The thing is, as we know with the band, as you are stretching it, it gets tighter and tighter. So it's a way of actually matching resistance to your muscles as they go through their range of motion, because the weakest part for your muscles is usually at the end of the range, at the starting position, when the muscle is in its full stretch position, and its strongest at its full contracted position. The bands mimic that strength tension curve very, very well. So it definitely can keep you nice and safe, give you a good amount of resistance. And again, resistance is resistance when you come down to it. All right. Your workouts, in terms of you getting benefit from them, are always going to be on the amount of intensity that you deliver. All right. Pushing yourself. We talked about sets and reps and the amount of rest. By following what your goals are, what sets and reps you want, and the amount of rest you give, that's what's going to get you your gains that you're looking for. Not if you're using dumbbells or barbells. Now, caveat to this: if you are training for something specific, a certain type of competition, powerlifting competition, Olympic weightlifting, or you need to train in that particular fashion, no doubt about it. But if you are doing a workout, all right, so workout is different than training, all right? If you're doing a workout, resistance is resistance. All right, so today we're going to quickly look at just 3 basic exercises you can do with mobility band for the chest. Now, remember, we want to emphasize the different portions of the chest: the clavicular head, the sternal head, and the costal head as well. And again, the way we did that with dumbbells last week is we essentially just changed the position of our torso. All right, because with dumbbells, you are reliant on gravity. Gravity is what's helping you provide the resistance, and you have to stay perpendicular to the gravity in order to get the most benefit from that particular exercise. With mobility bands, I don't need to worry about gravity anymore. All right, I just need to make sure that I'm going in a line of force that makes sense. So we can simulate a simple bench press with a mobility band. All right, and I do not need to be laying down for this. All right, I could actually do it standing up, which is nice because it'll help engage the core a little bit more. All right, and I could actually put myself in a more athletic position as well. So it can be a little bit more functional from that standpoint. So taking the band, all I'm going to do in this particular case is I'm just going to put it behind my back. All right, and from there, I'm going to get an angle here. What I just need to do is a simple bench press motion. So I'm starting down like I normally do, coming up, bringing my hands together, thinking of a triangle position. And as I come back, keep those elbows down to the level of my chest or my kind of my stomach with my hands, and then back together. And remember cadence, all right? 2 seconds to bring it down, pause. 2 seconds to bring it up, pause. That way you stay safe. Don't use momentum, which is much harder with the bands, by the way, to use momentum. If you try to use momentum, you're going to snap yourself with it. But also by doing this, you increase the time under tension for the muscles, which is a big factor in terms of getting those strength gains and those power gains that you're looking for. So again, remember the sets and the reps that you're looking for, whether it's 3 to 5, 8 to 12, or 8 to 15, or 15 plus, depending if you're looking for muscular endurance, hypertrophy, or power strength. Again, they're all going to build muscle to one degree or another. So that's a way to simulate just a simple flat bench. Incline bench is not that hard too. I can still do it in a standing position. All right. In this case, I have a mobility band just tied around a pole. Again, you're seeing a little different angle of my crappy basement right now, but hey, let's figure it this way. I don't have the most palatial basement in the world. It'll probably never be finished, but you know what? You don't need a lot in order to get a good, effective workout. It's all dependent on you and the level of intensity you want to deliver. So I'm going to actually do this unilateral in this particular case. I'm going to have the mobility band. It's straight behind me, but instead of coming straight out like a standard bench press, what I'm actually going to do is come up at an angle. All right, coming up at that angle, I'll still have the resistance behind me. Again, I don't have to rely on gravity to be perpendicular to the floor or anything like that. I'll actually start to hit the more clavicular head of the pectoralis. And what I like to do myself, I like to actually put my hand on my stomach to help give me some proprioceptive input to engage the core as I go along with this. So now I'm going to go up at an angle, 2 seconds up, pause, 2 seconds back, pause. And keep it a nice consistent movement so I can get that time under tension all the time. And remember, the gains comes from your intensity. I keep on saying that, but that's true. The most effective workout you're going to have is the one that you'll do consistently and with the correct intensity. So you can have the best workout program in the world, but if you half-ass it, you're not going to get what you want out of it. It's still up to you. And then obviously I could switch to the other side. And for when I do this unilateral for myself, I make sure again that my body is going to fail between whatever rep range I want. And I'll just go from one to the other to the other. I'll bounce back and forth. I will not do a rest break in between. So I won't do left, right, and rest. I'll do left, right, back and forth for the number of sets that I want. The last exercise to consider for the chest is kind of going to be a variation of an underhand fly that you would see at the gym, where you could actually, with the cable flies, where you start low and you bring it up to your center mass. To squeeze the chest, get the inner portion in that costal head. We're actually going to, again, use the band for this. Very simple. I would recommend using a light one. Even though you don't see it, it's out of the screenshot right now. I am standing on the band itself, all right? I'm going to stand back a little bit. The band, I have just a good hold of it. It's right at my waist. All I'm going to do from here is, again, engage my core. I got a slightly bent knees, and I'm going to bring my hands up and scoop up to the level of my chest and back. Scoop up, back. Again, that time under tension, 2 seconds to bring it up, pause, 2 seconds to bring it down, pause. Great way to finish your routine. If you want to really change things up a little bit, as simple as it may sound, start with this exercise. Start with this exercise. I know people say it's a finishing exercise, it's a type of thing, but sometimes if you use those exercises that you normally would finish with and you just change the order, you can really get a different feel and a different pump for your other exercise that you normally would start with. All right. So it's a little tip there too. You can sometimes take the same exercise you have, rearrange the order of them, and suddenly it feels like an entirely new workout to your body just because of that component, because you're going to have to change the weights a little bit in the amount of resistance. All right. So thank you very much for joining today and putting up with me. Again, a little bit sore today, but we're able to make it through together. Again, I'm just giving you short little demonstrations. It's your job now to put it into practice, get that level of intensity, get that heart rate up, do what you need to do to get the gains that you're looking for and to meet your specific goals and everything. So you guys all take care. Hope to see you next week and everything. Maybe next week we'll do something with a little bit of a breakfast recipe or something along those lines, maybe a little bit of a nutritional take on things. All right. So remember, struggle is strength. So get your struggle on. All right. Take care.